Welcome back to For the Tech of It. Today, we're going to take a look at the latest upcoming long-term support version of Ubuntu 22.04 called Jammy Jellyfish. Hey, welcome back. So every couple of years, Ubuntu releases what's known as a long-term support edition, or LTS. Ubuntu version 22.04 is scheduled for final release on April 21st, and that's just about 3 weeks away from the date of this recording. Now, overall support for Ubuntu 22.04 will end in 2027. Now, Ubuntu does offer an extended support maintenance update beyond that 2027 date. Now, you will be required, however, to enroll your computers running Ubuntu into what's called the Ubuntu Advantage or Ubuntu Pro program. Now, this program is free for home users with some limitations. However, businesses will need to pay an annual subscription fee. Now, you can check out the terms of this agreement on Ubuntu's support website if you're interested in that. All right, so what's included in this release? Today we're going to take a look at some of the more exciting new features that version 22.04 will be bringing to the Ubuntu community. First of all, Ubuntu defaults to the Wayland Display Manager and has support for computers running NVIDIA graphics cards. There's also a new horizontal workspace switcher, and we'll take a look at that. And you can also specify where to place the Ubuntu app launcher, and we'll look at that as well. It also uses the latest version of the Gnome Shell, which is version 42. And that's really exciting because that's a nice release of the Gnome Shell. And it includes a new screenshot tool, and we'll take a look at that as well. You can specify accent colors and change the theme from light to dark mode, and that's a system-wide change. And yep, we'll be looking at that too. All right, so let's take a look around. Okay, so here we are on the Ubuntu 22.04 Jammy Jellyfish desktop. Now, first and foremost, keep in mind that this version of Ubuntu will include the latest version of the Gnome Shell, which is version 42. And also keep in mind that, this is still a daily build of Ubuntu 22.04, so during this video, we may encounter some odd behavior here and there, so I won't jab them too much on that because it's still very much a work in progress before they put out their final release of the product. All right, so there are 6 things I want to go through with you really quickly today, and this will be a pretty short video. So first off, I want to take you into the desktop settings, and we want to look at the appearance section here, setting. This is something new to Ubuntu. So now you can very easily switch from, and let me open up this file browser to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here. You can very easily switch from light mode, which is where we are, what we're looking at today, right now. We can switch over to dark mode just by clicking a button, and then notice how everything changes. Also, we can specify accent colors now. So there are a number of accent colors here. You can notice how the folders and the highlights are changing to reflect the different accent colors. So I like that one in dark mode. That looks really good. Let's see what else we have here. Magenta. Wow, that looks pretty good. All right, I think we'll stay in dark mode. So I wanted to show you that. You can switch from light mode to dark mode, and you can change the accent colors. You can also change the size of the icons on your desktop. So right now this is normal. You can go to small, large, tiny. I'll just put it back to normal. You can specify the position of the icons on the desktop, where it can be top left. They can start appearing from top right. I'll just show you here. Bottom left and bottom right. I'll just leave it at the top left for now. You can show and hide the personal folder, just like that. You can also auto hide the dock. This here, when you maximize or move a window over it, the dock will automatically hide itself to get out of the way. Now you can also, with this dock, or panel as they're calling it here, notice how the panel's full height spans pretty much the entire height of the desktop here. If we click this to turn it off, it goes into a more condensed dock type mode. We'll put it back. You can also change the size of the icons on your dock. Go. You can specify where the dock appears if you have a multi-monitor setup. You can also specify the position on the screen where the dock appears. So if you want it at the bottom, the left, of course, or the right. If you put it in that dock mode, it looks a little better in my opinion. There you go. But I'll leave it on the left here. All right, so that's one thing I wanted to show you. It's a really nice, these are some really nice new settings here in Ubuntu. The second thing, actually the first two things was, one is the desktop settings and the accent color. So those are your first two. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you here are a couple of different ways that you can launch applications from Ubuntu. So we just talked about this dock here. So this is one way. You can just simply click on the application. It'll load it up. I think I just clicked LibreOffice Writer, and here's LibreOffice Writer. In fact, let me go back to the light mode. I think it'll be a little bit easier for you to see. We'll switch to light mode. And we'll go back to LibreOffice. There we go. So that's a little better. All right, so this is one way that you can do it. Now you can selectively add and remove items to and from this dock. So let's say we want to remove the Thunderbird mail client. It's as simple as right-clicking on the icon and select. Well, before I show you that, this is how you can reorder things. Simply highlight the icon you want and drag it to a new position. Okay? So it's a simple drag and drop action. Now to remove it, as I was saying earlier, you can right-click on it, click Remove from Favorites. Now, if we go into the Show Applications, this is another way that you can launch applications in the GNOME desktop, for those of you who are not familiar with it. So let's say we wanted to load up LibreOffice. Here's LibreOffice. I just started typing the word LibreOffice, and it appeared, and here's LibreOffice. So let's say we want this LibreOffice application to remain in the dock. Notice how its icon appears. We can right-click on it and choose Add to Favorites. So now it's in your favorites. So if we close it, notice the icon stays put. And I'm going to move it up here a bit. It's right after Firefox. So now this opens up the general LibreOffice application. And then we can remove the one for Writer, because we can launch from here. We can launch Writer, Spreadsheet, Impress, Drawing, and Math. So I prefer that one. So that's number 3. That's how you can, 2 ways you can launch applications from within the GNOME desktop on Ubuntu. Now, number 4, what I want to show you is you can also navigate through the different workspaces here in Ubuntu simply by clicking on the Show application. Notice how there are 2 workspaces here listed side by side. So remember, we talked about launching applications. So if I were to click, let's say, Solitaire, it's going to load the Solitaire game in this first workspace. But what if I wanted to open, I don't know, let's say Firefox in this second workspace? All you have to do is drag the Firefox icon to that second workspace and release it. And it'll open up the Firefox web browser here in a moment. Now, keep in mind, things are a little slow right now because I'm running this inside a virtual machine. And, again, this is very much the daily build version of Ubuntu. So I'm not sure where Firefox went. Oh, there it is. It was minimized. Let's see if it went to the right. Yeah, so see, it didn't even go to the right workspace. So I'm going to drag it and drop it in here. So this is a really nice feature. Notice how I dragged the application that's running in one workspace and moved it to another workspace, drag and drop. So now if I click on that workspace, it shows Firefox, and there's some shortcut keys you can use too. If you hold down the Control key and the Windows key on your keyboard and use the little scroll wheel on your mouse, if your mouse has a scroll wheel, you can go from one workspace to the other. So here's workspace 1 with Firefox and workspace 2 with Solitaire running in it. And that's what we were seeing right here. So that's the workspace switching feature. That's number 4. All right, number 5 on my list is updating your system. So as with any other operating system, Windows, Mac OS, or what have you, you want to make sure and keep your Linux system, in this case Ubuntu, properly patched. So I'm going to show you the way I like to do it, and then I'll show you another way that Ubuntu provides you with the capabilities to do this. So I like to run it through the terminal. So there's a simple command that you can type here. Sudo apt update. Press enter. We'll put the password. Press enter. We'll wait a moment. And it says, hey, there are 290 packages that can be upgraded. And if you want to see what those are, you can run the command that it's showing you right here. So let's just run that command right quick. List upgradable. And notice these are all the different packages that are available to be upgraded. To do the upgrade, it's as simple as saying sudo apt upgrade, and I like to put a -y behind it so that if you don't put the -y, the terminal is going to prompt you and ask you whether or not you want to proceed. So in this case, I do want it to just automatically proceed, so I'm going to put the -y. Press enter, and then all of any packages that are updatable, or upgradable rather, will begin to upgrade themselves. So I'm going to let this finish. I'll pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, now that the update is complete, it took about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to finish. We'll go ahead and exit out of the terminal. Type exit, press enter, and your system's up to date. Now at this point, notice I haven't rebooted or anything like that. I would suggest, once you're finished using your computer, go ahead and restart it or shut it down until you're ready to use it again. But in most cases, it's not necessary to reboot right away. Okay, there's another way Ubuntu provides you with easily updating your system, and that's through this update feature here in the Software Center. And if there are any updates that need to be made, you can click on this link here and it'll show you that list. Now the reason why I like using the terminal over this is because for whatever reason, sometimes this particular update manager does not list all of the system files or system packages that need to be updated. And I found that to be true in previous versions of Ubuntu as well. So I just made it a habit to do the sudo apt update command followed by the sudo apt upgrade command. But it's up to you. My recommendation is just go with the terminal. It's not that doing it this way is somehow wrong, because eventually, I think all the packages will get updated at some point. But I find that also the terminal actually does the updates a bit quicker than does the graphical user interface. All right, so that's number 5. Okay, the last thing we'll look at here is the new screenshot tool that's included with this version of Ubuntu 22.04. We'll go back and open up a couple of windows here. I'm going to open up Firefox, and I'm going to open up the File Explorer here. All right, so we've got these two up and running. I'm going to go to the Mozilla Start page, and I'll click on the Show Applications, and I'll type the word screen, take screenshot. All right, so what the screenshot tool is doing now, it's actually highlighted because there are 3 options. One is Windows selection, take a screenshot of the entire screen, or of a selected region of the screen. So it was set to window. So let's start with selection. Notice how it creates a rectangle, and you can move this rectangle around. You can resize it to highlight just the portion, rectangular portion of the screen that you want to take a picture of, essentially. Once that piece is highlighted, you can click this button right here. And now that the image, it's actually stored in your clipboard, but you can go into the File Explorer. I believe it's in the Pictures folder. It's called Screenshot. And here it is. This is the screenshot that was just taken. So if we double click on that, this is the Ubuntu image viewer. You can see just that rectangular region we had highlighted is now a part of your, the picture of it has been taken. So what we can do with this is go into tools like LibreOffice, for example. Let's say you want to paste that in somewhere. Close this, and I can right click and choose paste, and I'll zoom in a bit for you. So there you have a picture of whatever was on your screen. So we'll close out of LibreOffice. I'll save that. You can also, let's bring the screenshot tool back up again. So we did the selection. You can take a picture of the entire screen. So everything we see here, if we click this button, you'll get a picture of the entire screen. Or we can choose which window we want. So let's say we only want the Firefox browser. We'll click on that, push the button, and you'll see it's here now. There's a picture of Firefox. But there's another feature that they've added in this version, particular, that I want to show you. So let's say we want a selection. We'll leave it there. Now you can click this screencast button, and it will begin to record. So I'm going to move and scroll through the browser a bit. Move this window here. Scroll a bit more. We'll stop the recording. Click here to view the video. We'll show it in the File Explorer. It puts this one in your Videos folder. So now if we double click it, it's replaying back all the actions that were taken on your screen while it was recording. Now, I don't think it does the audio. I haven't tried that yet. But I guess if you were playing music or something in the background, or if there's any type of audio, it may record that as well. I'm not exactly sure. This is something that's new to this version of Ubuntu. But it's pretty nice. This is the new screenshot tool in Ubuntu 22.04. And really the newest feature is that capability of actually recording actions that are on your screen. Okay, so before we wrap up here, I wanted to show you where you can find information on the Ubuntu Advantage or Ubuntu Pro support services, what I talked about at the beginning of this episode. So this is the Ubuntu homepage, just ubuntu.com. If you go to the Enterprise menu item here and you click it, and you go over to where it says Support and Services, you'll click that link, and this is where it talks about the Ubuntu Advantage program, right? And if you want to get, let's say you have a small business, for example, and you want to get a support agreement in place with Ubuntu Advantage, you can either contact them directly or you can go on their website and read through the terms of the service. Now, the way they have it broken out is on a per machine enterprise subscription. And I mentioned earlier in the video that with some limitations, it's free for personal use. So if you're not using it for business purposes, it says here anyone can use the support essentials for free on up to 3 machines. So if you have 3 computers, that you're using this on, or 50 if you are an official Ubuntu community member and you need to sign up, and it's free to sign up to be a community member. So that's one way that you could do it. Now, if you have your own small business all the way up to large enterprises, you can buy an enterprise subscription. And if we click the buy button here, so subscribe to Ubuntu Advantage. So it says here, for example, number one, what are you setting up? If you have any physical servers, because there's a server version of Ubuntu as well. AWS, which is the Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, virtual machines. Let's say desktops. For a lot of small businesses, you're going to have desktops. So you click desktop. So what Ubuntu version are you running? So notice that 22.04 is not listed yet. You will see it listed here once it's released later in April. But currently, these are the different versions or releases of Ubuntu LTS that are still being supported through the extended support. So the current LTS, the most recent one, which was released in April of 2020, 2020, is the Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. So it also tells you a little bit about what the Ubuntu Advantage plan includes. Extended security maintenance until 2030. So for this version of Ubuntu, 20.04. Kernel live patch to avoid unscheduled reboots. I've used this. This is a really nice feature. Certified Windows drivers for KVM guests, certified compliance. There's quite a bit of information here, and that's included as a part of your support. Do you also want tech support? Now you have some options here. Where it says no thanks, software and security updates only. And what this means is when Ubuntu applies software and security updates for that extended period of time up to 2030, you'll be notified through the update manager that updates are available. However, if you're a small business and you want to have phone and ticket support, let's say 5 days a week, 24 hours a day, it's $125 US per machine per year. It's not a bad price. If you need to have 24 hours, 7 days a week, depending on how your business operates, then that goes up to $275 per machine, per computer, per year. Again, that is a very good price, annual price, depending on the number of machines that you have in your environment. So it'll calculate it for you. Let's say you got 4 of these machines or what have you. You can also pull up details of the coverage and response time, and it goes through all of that here with you. So if you want support, whether you're an individual or small business owner, medium-sized business, large corporation, definitely check out the Ubuntu Advantage program. All right, so that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me today. If you liked what you saw today, please give me a big thumbs up and do click that subscribe button. I'll be creating more videos. Also, you can check my video archive on YouTube as well as my website at forthetechofit.net. In fact, I'll go there right quick for you. It's for.net. And I'll be making some updates. I'll include a link to this video here on the homepage as well. So definitely check us out online. And thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you again soon. Peace.